All right, buckle up because today we're diving headfirst into the world of Alien. Isolation, specifically, that nerve wracking first mission, closing the book. And trust me, we're not just skimming the surface here. We're going deep into the design choices, the atmosphere, everything that makes this intro such a masterclass in suspense. Whether you've already braved this game or just curious about what makes great horror ticks stick with us, you're about to learn how Alien Isolation gets under your skin before you even see the monster.
Yeah, it's amazing how they pull you into this world. It's not just bam, you're in the action. It's 2137, 15 years after the first Alien film, and you're Amanda Ripley searching desperately for answers about what happened to her mother Ellen.
Right, and think about it. They could have set this anywhere, anytime, but they chose to directly link it back to the first film. It's like stepping right back into that iconic universe, all the grit, that 70s inspired futurism, but with modern technology making it feel real and terrifying.
Exactly, it's deliberate. They're tapping into that existing nostalgia, and let's be real, the dread we all feel when we think about that original Alien. So Creative Assembly, the developers, they set the tone immediately.
Yeah.
And that visual style of the torn space station, all bulky tech and those claustrophobic, dimly lit corridors, that's doing a lot of heavy lifting.
Oh, absolutely. It's like every shadow, every corner is hiding something waiting to jump out.
Exactly. It's the environment telling a story before a word is even spoken. Those flickering lights, the grime on the walls, the constant hum of machinery, it all screams potential danger lurking just out of sight.
It's like the game saying, yeah, everything seems okay now, but just you wait. And speaking of things not being what they seem, let's talk about the characters we meet right off the bat. Samuels, the android, and Taylor, that Weyland-Yutani executive. They're more than just quest givers, right? They're something off about them from the start.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Their dialogue is so well layered. On the surface, it's just exposition moving the plot along. But listen closely, and you start to pick up on this underlying tension, those hesitant pauses, the way they phrase things. It's like they're hiding something huge. It makes you question everything they say and every motive they have.
It's like that feeling you get when you can just tell someone's not telling you everything in a conversation. You know what I mean? And that just makes you pay attention even more to every single word they say.
You got it. And that's what makes the story even more impactful later on. Even if you don't realize it, you're already forming opinions about these people, creating relationships with them. It's subtle, but it makes their fates and how you interact with them down the line so much more meaningful.
And here's where Alien Isolation really throws you for a loop. You go in expecting to be running from a xenomorph right out of the gate. But mission one, it's like this slow burn, almost like a thriller, building the tension.
Exactly. And that's a really smart move by the developers. I mean, they could have just thrown us to the alien right away. But instead, they give you this feeling of vulnerability through how you actually play the game. Take the crafting system, for example. Right from the start, you're scavenging for parts, trying to figure out how to make things.
Yeah, you're not just finding a med kit all put together. It's like, okay, what can I use to make something useful out of all this junk?
Yeah. And the game doesn't hold your hand either. You have to experiment, see what works. It makes you feel like you're actually surviving, not just following a script.
Absolutely. And that makes every single decision so much more important. Like, do I use this stuff now or save it for later? What if I really need it then? It's stressful even when there's no alien chasing you.
Right, because that's the thing about real fear. It's not just about being chased. It's the waiting, the not knowing what's going to happen. And Alien, Isolation, they absolutely nail that feeling.
Yeah.
Every little sound, every time the lights flicker makes you think, is that it? Is this when it gets me?
It's like the game is messing with your head on purpose, playing on that fear of the unknown. It's like being hunted even when you can't see the predator.
Totally. And they play with your expectations so well.
Yeah.
You're just waiting for that alien to show up. But it never does in Mission 1, at least not directly. Instead, you get these glimpses, shadows, sounds, things that could be the alien, or maybe it's just your imagination.
It's like the game is whispering to you the whole time, is that it? Is it coming for you now?
Which brings us to that ending when you think you're finally safe, about to escape the station, and boom.
That explosion. Talk about a punch to the gut. Just when you think you're in the clear, the game throws another curveball. What even caused that? Was it the alien? Are those people we met even still alive?
And suddenly everything from that first mission, all those little creepy moments, they all make sense.
Right. It's like all the pieces clicking into place, but in like the creepiest way possible. It really makes you realize every time the lights flickered, every weird sound the station made, it could have been the alien messing with you the whole time.
It's wild how they create that much dread without even really showing you the monster for that whole first mission.
That's the thing, isn't it? Real terror isn't about being chased down a hallway.
Nope. It's knowing you're stuck in a trap, but you have no idea how big that trap really is or when
That's
it's going to
surprisingly
spring.
And Alien. Isolation nails that feeling from the very beginning.
They really do. It's
Ah.
psychological horror at its finest.
Yeah.
Every shadow, every sound makes you second guess yourself.
Like we were talking about before, true fear is that anticipation of the unknown, and they captured it perfectly.
Totally. It's what makes this game stand out from all those other horror games out there. It's not about jump scares. It's about creating an atmosphere that sticks with you long after you've put the controller down.
So, for anyone listening who hasn't taken the plunge into Alien Isolation yet, what's the biggest takeaway from this deep dive into Mission 1?
Don't underestimate the power of a slow burn. That first mission, closing the book, it's a masterclass in how to tell a story, how to use the environment to scare you, and how to build suspense.
Exactly. Reminds us that the things we don't see can be way more terrifying than anything a developer can throw on the screen.
It lets your imagination fill in those blanks in the darkest corners of that space station.
And on that chilling note, we'll wrap up this deep dive into Alien Isolation. Until next time, keep exploring those dark corners and remember sometimes the quietest moments are the most terrifying.